the marbling. I'm going to put a little bit of mud in it to thicken it. Looked like I mixed up just enough. Funny story concerning these guide wraps. I was wanting to put some color bands in these guide wraps, having a basic green wrap with a red and blue band on each side of the guide. And the funny thing about it, it's learning new methods, and I've been watching and studying, and the guide wraps proved to be troublesome for me. But I did manage to get through it, and once I finished this vid, I mean completely finished with the video and wrapping, and I was watching YouTube video, and this guy was doing color bands, and his method was so simple and outstandingly great. All I could do was just sit and laugh out loud, saying, "Oh, you dummy, look at that." You're probably wondering how I get the guide to remain stationary on top of the rod while I'm wrapping. I've tried rubber bands, tape, everything else, but finally I've gone to just a drop of CA glue on the bottom of the guide and set it on top of the rod. Of course, after I've marked the center very well, but set it on the rod and hold it there until it dries and it secures it securely enough that I can wrap. I have a standing joke with my wife when something is difficult for me. I remind her, I said, you know, I have had a stroke. I do have brain damage. And you know, if you can't make fun of yourself, you just enjoy what life you've got. I mean, I didn't die. Part of my body did. And a great part of the left side of my body died, but got 90-something% of it recovered, you know, and that to me is a praise. I can walk. I can talk. I can eat, drink, and maybe I can't do some things. I can't run the 100-yard dash anymore, but you know, I'm 84 years old. I couldn't run that dash anyway. all my plotting's already laid out. Got it on 2-inch spacings on these chevrons. I think on my rod that I'm going to go a little bit longer, I might go with 1.5 inches. 2.5. To do this chevron wrap, I'll be doing 3 strands of red, 3 strands of blue, 3 strands of green. Then I'll come back and I'll do 6 strands of red, 6 blue, 6 green, and then I'll finish up with 3 strands of silver, all of them metallic, and all of them size A thread, which is going to be very difficult to handle. The bobbins that I'm using are the ones they're handmade. I made them out of some old welding wire that I found left over, I guess, from the previous owner of the house. To check them out, just look up for episode 100, the link at the end of this video, and show you how I made those bobbins. They come in pretty handy when using this loose spools to build these chevrons. These little bobbins really come in handy. Okay, chevrons are done. Now I need to wrap a band at each end of the chevron to secure the ends so that they don't fray and come unraveled. Got to be pretty careful right here. Taking this wad of tape off at the end of the chevron, which is already over other wrappings, can really lead to a lot of trouble. So I got to be very careful picking it out with a dental tool, just strand by strand, so I don't tear anything up. The one thing that I need to and want to emphasize with these chevron wraps and the bands that I'm putting on the end, always start wrapping your band before you try to remove the wad of tape holding the end down, and before you start trying to pick the end of the chevron wrap apart so you can overwrap it. Always wrap, I would say, a minimum of 20 or 30 wraps around the rod and over the chevron wrapping before you start doing anything else. And honestly, I like to take my color preserver and paint a very thin coat on that wrapping collar that started before I even touch the wad of tape on the ends. Now comes the fun part. Get to put the butt cap in place. I've cut a short section of 1/2 inch dowel rod, and I'll fit it inside the butt cap and leave protruding at least 2 inches outside the butt cap that fit inside the rod blank. And I'll wrap some masking tape around in a couple of places there to help fill in make it fit the rod blank tighter. But I'll mix some mud along with my epoxy to fit it all up in there so it'll fit nice and tight, it'll cure nice and tight, won't have a gap or won't be loose or anything. Then it'll look real pretty. Well, got a little confession to make. A video of wrapping the marble bands, or the bands at each end of the marbling is somewhere that nobody knows where. I do have some footage showing the complete work that wraps on the marbling. I did it with red. I did the blue banding on the chevron. I did the green banding on the guides. And now I'm doing the red banding on the marbling, and man, it really looks pretty. The final job needs to be done on this rod is adding the epoxy coating. Actually, the final job would be the polishing of paste wax after the epoxy cures, but adding this epoxy coating is a very essential thing. It seals all the marbling, it'll seal all the wraps, the chevrons, the guide wraps. It'll seal and tighten the end of the reel seat, the grips, just everything benefits from this epoxy coating. It keeps it watertight, it keeps it rust free, and then the polish job sets up a UV barrier to protect that epoxy. Doing a second coat of epoxy on this rod, I am thinning it down with alcohol because I want it to lay a lot smoother. The chevrons, the metallic threads, are just not being as smooth as I want them. So anyway, I'm going to get this thinner epoxy on there, use a little heat, and see if that doesn't help it out a little bit and help protect it a little bit more.